Hi, I'm Lottie. I'm a PhD student at Newcastle University in the School of Geography, Politics and Sociology, and I am researching period poverty and menstrual inequality. I got into research just for my love of curiosity and just really wanting to learn more. And actually, I think that my main route into research was actually just something that came across my everyday life. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting. And I was doing my master's at the time. And I kind of thought, oh, I wonder if anyone's actually researching this, because I was looking for something to write my master's dissertation on, and Googled it, and no research about it. And I thought, right, I want to do this. I'm curious about this. I think it's important. And that's pretty much how I got into it, yeah. My research is looking at the everyday experiences of women in period poverty, and it covers menstrual inequality. So period poverty is quite often understood as the inability to afford menstrual products, so pads and tampons and things like that. But it's much broader than that. And what I'm finding in my research is that menstrual inequality is not just about not being able to afford them, but it's about a lack of menstrual education. It's sometimes not being able to access them for various reasons, and particularly in the global pandemic, that might have been that their shops had not stocked them because people were panic buying tampons and things like that. So my research talks to women living in Newcastle about their experiences of this. My primary research method is interviews, and in my research that is actually a telephone interview. Now, I came to this because doing my research in a pandemic was quite difficult, and obviously we weren't allowed to do in-person, face-to-face research. So I managed to do a participant ethnography working in a food bank. I thought that the best way to do my interviews was to do them via Zoom, which everyone else seemed to be doing as well. But actually, from doing my volunteering and fieldwork in the food bank, I realised that this practical method as a response to COVID, to do them via Zoom, actually was not at all appropriate for the women that I wanted to be speaking to for my research. These women might not have access to laptops or good Wi-Fi, but they did have mobile phones, and this was a really key way that I could interview them. I'm very influenced by feminist research methodologies and theories. I find the core ethos of feminist research is raising the voices of your participants. And for my research in particular, looking at experiences of period poverty, living with period poverty, and the shame and stigma that is associated with that, and the fact that it's very silenced in an under-researched area, I'm really keen to raise the voices of my participants and get their stories out there, because it's their experiences that I'm researching, really. I'm actually particularly excited by solicited diaries. A solicited diary is basically a journaling activity. So participants would take away and write or type or draw or take photographs and videos and audio messages of something around the research topic. So if I was using it, it would have been about their experiences living in period poverty and periods in general. I haven't yet had the chance to use them in my own research, but it was something that I looked at. And I think the great thing about solicited diaries is that participants can take them away and really reflect on their experiences and have a think about what we're talking about in the research, and have the time and space to reflect on potentially the past, but also their present sort of thoughts and feelings around the research. Starting out again, I wish I'd known that there were more methods out there than I realised. Interview methods worked really, really well to get the rich qualitative data that my study was looking for, but knowing about solicited diaries, about potentially visual methods and taking photographs of areas and spaces that my participants were using, and focus groups, and just the wide range of methods that are out there, I think if I'd taken the time to sort of explore them more, something really creative might have come out of that. But yeah, I'm happy with my methods that I've used. If I were to recommend one text to students to read about methodology, I would recommend this text by Alison Brown. It's called Can People Talk Together About Their Practices? Focus Groups, Humour and the Sensitive Dynamics of Everyday Life. I found this paper particularly useful in how it conceptualises humour as a methodological tool, particularly in the context of my research, which is looking at a sensitive topic, periods and period poverty. Being able to laugh about our experiences together and having an interview more as a conversation with purpose, but definitely a conversation, and being able to relate to some aspects of being a woman and having a period, and being able to laugh about it, perhaps sharing an embarrassing story or looking back in an embarrassing moment when you first started your period and things like that. It really helped build rapport. It helped build a familiarity between myself as a researcher and the participant. And it also made the conversation and interview feel very natural and very just natural. So I think that this paper really conceptualizes that well. And it's a great way to learn about how to talk about sensitive topics and intimate everyday life issues, routines, practices. And so I would really recommend this reflective piece.